Hey everybody, this is part of our full-length primetime podcast. You can check it out on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, YouTube, plenty more. I hope you enjoy.
But Brandon, that's going to move us into our next discussion. We're going from Lamar Action Jackson. We're going to open this thing up. We're taking the microscope and we're going to zoom it on out and kind of take a broader look at, for the longest time, end of last year through draft conversations, the same things is being said. It's saying that, you know what, this year, don't draft a quarterback this year. Next quarterback class is going to be better. Next one's going to be better. This year in college football, before I ask you the question that I always start you off with, just listen to some of these names. Josh Rosen, still at UCLA. You have Baker Mayfield, came back for Oklahoma. Then at Oklahoma State, you've got Mason Rudolph. You got Jake Browning in Washington. You've got Tanner Mangum at BYU. We have so many quarterbacks this year. Sam Darnold at USC, a guy coming out of nowhere. And we also got a guy in Penn State in Swarley, or Swirls as I like to call him, another big guy trying to bring his team to the college football playoff. And Brandon, this one's going to be easy. This is going to be an easy topic, and I'm throwing it right at you. Will 2017 really be the year of the quarterback for college football?
I think that with all those names that you listed, without saying Shane Buechele at Texas, now with Tom Herman, DeAndre Francois at Florida State, with Jalen Hurts at Alabama, with Lamar Jackson at Louisville. Yeah, I think so. I mean, how can it not be?
Spates at Michigan.
How can it not be? I mean, listen to all those names. And those range from seniors to sophomores to juniors. I mean, we're looking at a very, very deep quarterback class here. I mean, we're talking lots of really, really, really talented quarterbacks. And I'm excited. I think that there is so much that all these quarterbacks have already done. One I want to focus on really quickly, Sam Darnold. This guy is so good.
Right now, everyone's thinking if he has a great year, number one pick next year. Could be the number one pick in next year's NFL draft.
Do you know what's funny, Ricky? So it's not quite a year. Give us a couple more months, and then we'll be there. What did we talk about on this podcast? Who could be big at quarterback for USC?
Was it
not Sam Darnold?
No, it wasn't.
Nope.
It wasn't Sam Darnold.
It was like Max Brown or something like that.
It was Brown. Brown with an E. Max Brown with an E.
And
was this his coming out party?
And we thought we were so spot on. We're idiots, folks.
And that's what it is. Like, and Darnold came out of nowhere.
Well, Sam Darnold, it was pretty simple. When Max Brown did not work out in his first couple of games, he didn't do well at all, really. And Sam Darnold came and he really just shined for this USC team. And I think that was capped off by an outstanding Rose Bowl game against Trace McSorley. I mean, how about that? I think that it was such a great game, and it was capped off by Sam Darnold really leading his team to a victory. And this is the type of play that I think we're going to get out of a lot of quarterbacks this upcoming season. And that's why I truly do think, and I stand by that statement, of if this is not the year of the quarterback in college football in 2017, I don't know if we're ever going to see the year of the quarterback then. Because all of these guys, even the guys on kind of the lower end of things, with the DeAndre Francois or Jalen Hurts. And I put Jalen Hurts on the lower end of things because Jalen Hurts, for as good as he was with his feet last season, which was a big part of his game, which is a big part of his game and still will continue to be, he can improve so much as a quarterback and as a throwing quarterback. And this guy was still in the national championship game this past season. I mean, holy Hannah. This is going to be an outstanding season in college football. I feel it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And if it started tomorrow, I'd be scared because we haven't talked a whole lot about it. But I would be so excited because there is so much to talk about it and so much potential for so many teams. Jake Browning, another one. You mentioned him, but what he did for Washington to put them on the map, as much as I wanted to knock them off all season because they just weren't beating anybody. That was my rendition of myself. I think that what he did last season to continue to a continuation for a lot of these quarterbacks is what they're wanting. Where they ended last season, if you can continue that to this season and beyond, these teams are going to be very good. And some of these teams and some of these quarterbacks that we're mentioning, their teams could be back in the college football playoff.
Well, and the thing, not just college football playoff, I'm even thinking of it in a draft sense.
Well, sure, yeah,
because
absolutely.
I mean, the two big names I feel like from this season will be Darnold and Baker Mayfield. I know Baker Mayfield right now, in some, taking a little bit of a hit with his, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get stopped by the cops for drinking. Looking at the cop, oh, wait, I can outrun him. I'm a D1. That, to me, watching that video of Baker Mayfield being stopped by the police, and you could see in his head him thinking, I can outrun this guy, and then he just goes to book it, and the cop just spears him right into the little, like, cement kind of edge that was right next to him. Of course, teams are going to look at that right now, but I feel at the end of the year, Darnold, Baker Mayfield, they could be with good seasons, because let's be honest, either one of them could Matt Barkley it and say, well, this guy's the number one pick. Ooh, not so fast. That could happen. We don't know. But it's going to be, to me, those two and maybe Lamar Jackson, depending on what season he has, are our top quarterbacks. And those guys could all go in round one. However, we've got some other ones that could go in round one as well. And really, there could be guys that, like a Mason Rudolph.
I was just going to say,
wow,
you're not putting Mason Rudolph in that category, and I think that you need to. I mean, look at the points that this team puts up. Holy crap. And if they can't put up those points and you not put them in there.
I want to ask you a question about him, actually. And it was as I was scrolling through ESPN, I saw this article, and the headline read that this could be the year that Mason Rudolph kind of gets out of the Baker Mayfield shadow. Does he get out of the shadow this year? Does Mason Rudolph kind of move away from the Baker Mayfield shadow this year?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's in a shadow. But here's what I kind of think it is because people, a lot of times, they want to focus on one guy. Mm-hmm. And like this past year, it was Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. We didn't realize, people forget kind of, that Baker Mayfield's still having an outstanding season. Mason Rudolph is having an outstanding season. Baker Mayfield, my goodness gracious, if you would have won one or two more games in the season, your team could be in the college football playoff. Mason Rudolph, you guys just scored 65 points for the 12th game in a row. I mean, obviously that's an over-exaggeration, but I don't think that necessarily Mason Rudolph is in a shadow of Baker Mayfield. I think all these quarterbacks were in a shadow of Lamar Jackson for quite some time.
So you think he's the prize pony right now? Well, performance-wise and hype-wise because of his video game stats from
Mason
last
Rudolph?
Year. No, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson is going to be the guy that I think a lot of people are looking at. Can he repeat? There's going to be a lot of people. He won't be able to do that again. He won't be able to do that. Let's see him try and do that again. No, because there's so many people. Oh, come on. Can you really repeat those types of stats? It's really hard to do so. It's really, I mean, Deshaun Watson, he had so many good numbers 2 seasons ago. Was he going to follow that up with another season like that? And that's why there was all this hype around him and everything like that. Was he going to be able to repeat that? And he had even said early in the season, I kind of criticized him for it, that all this hype and stuff like that sometimes gets hard. Deal with it, brother, because you're going to have to do that when you're in the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder when you move on and move up. But he eventually got it together, and he did. But I think that you're always going to look at the guy who had the best stats the year before, so they're going to look at Lamar Jackson. But I also think that you look at some of these other guys, Baker Mayfield, Mason Rudolph specifically, because of the conference they're in, the way that they put up points in that conference, I think look for both of these guys to be very, very consistently good all throughout the season. But look at their last 2 seasons as well. They've been very strong. But I think this past year, it was an overshadow because of Lamar Jackson. I don't think that Mason Rudolph was necessarily in a shadow of Baker Mayfield.
I'm going to say this, and this is one of the thoughts I had while you were talking, was this year, I feel like it's going to be that year where I just say, let's just sit back and enjoy the ride. Let's just sit back, enjoy the ride. We're going to have so many great performances this year, because there's one guy I didn't even mention is Luke Falk. This is a guy at Washington State, declared for the NFL draft, then after declaring, had a change of heart and said, nah, I'm coming back to school. He's going to be back. He's going to be a guy that we talk about in draft conversations. I feel I have this weird inkling this season. Of course, there's going to be guys that we talk about that have duds of a year, and that hurts their draft stock. And, oh, we thought they were a 1, now they're a 3. Or, oh, we thought they were a 1, now they're a 2. DeShone Kizer's kind of in that boat. Thought he would have a better season last year than he had this year. But, like, when I was talking to Sean before we recorded the Primetime Podcast today, he said, well, that's Brian Kelly's fault. Brian Kelly said he should have came back. Doesn't matter. You wouldn't have fucking used him. That's what Sean said. And I kind of agree with him. DeShone Kizer's year, was it more him or more Brian Kelly? I feel like this year we're going to look at the draft next year, and there are going to be so many guys that play well this year. And, of course, all of them aren't going to go. The red shirt sophomores could go, could end up staying. The juniors could end up staying. But for the most part, I feel like most of these guys, I feel like we could see a run of quarterbacks in the NFL draft. And I mean, I'm looking at the only mock draft I can find right now is on WalterFootball.com, Brandon. Here are the 3 quarterbacks they got in the projected order that they have.
For this next season?
For 2018. Okay. So after this upcoming season, they think the 49ers will get the number 1 pick. They're going to take Sam Darnold. And he will be the quarterback of the 49ers.
God bless him.
The next quarterback off the board, the 4th pick to the New York Jets, Josh Rosen, quarterback from UCLA.
I swear to God, if the Jets get one more frickin' quarterback, they're not going to have enough roster spots for everybody else. They have like 10.
At number 5 to the Buffalo Bills, a guy we haven't mentioned, a guy who could be good at a small school, Wyoming, Josh Allen. We get Josh Allen going to the Bills, and then besides that, they don't have another quarterback going. But I look at it, Lamar Jackson could be a first-round pick. Baker Mayfield could be looked at as a first-rounder. Mason Rudolph, if he plays well. Jake Browning.
Yeah.
I mean, there are guys, and this could even be one where, of course, all of them won't go in the first round. I mean, every team's not going to take a quarterback.
Exactly.
But this could be also a class of quarterbacks where they played so well this year in college football that teams go, fuck, let's take a quarterback in the second round. It's like we're getting a first rounder in the second. That's how good these guys, I think, can be. And because we have all these great quarterbacks, the thing that I'll kind of end it on for me is I think this might be one of the most entertaining college football seasons that we see in quite some time. Because of all the big-name quarterbacks we got, guys with names that we're attaching ourselves to. I mean, you look at it, and some of them, Rudolph upperclassman. Baker Mayfield is an upperclassman. Falk is an upperclassman. I want to say Allen's an upperclassman. Really, the underclassman would be like Lamar Jackson. I want to say Darnold, the lowerclassman. And I feel like this year they will be the stars of the league. And of course, there's going to be that one name. There's going to be that one quarterback that comes out of nowhere that neither you or I said today. He's kind of sitting there. He's kind of sitting there under the fog. And as soon as we get to like week 3, week 4, there he comes right out of it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about him here on the Primetime Podcast. But that's kind of my thought. I feel like just sit back, let's enjoy the ride, because this could be, because of the quarterbacks we have, could be one of the most entertaining football seasons we have in quite some time. What are your kind of final thoughts with this?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that what we saw even this past year with Lamar Jackson being as good as he was, so, a couple years ago it was Leonard Fournette. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's really good, running back, all that stuff. Lamar Jackson, quarterback last year. I think that he may have been him, along with many other guys who were really good at the quarterback position, kind of set the tone last year. And with how things ended again with Sam Darnold, with McSorley, everything like that, I think it kind of sets up this season. They're sticking the tee in the ground. They're putting the ball on top of the tee. Now they're going back. They got their club. They've got their driver. And now we're just going with the backswing. And this 2017 and 2018, we're going to be making contact, following through. There's going to be a lot of really good quarterback play come this season. I think you're right, Ricky. I'm really excited to be able to watch it all. I think you're also right in the fact that there's going to be one, maybe two quarterbacks that we haven't mentioned that will come out and you're like, wow, this guy is really good too. He's going to be added to this group as well. But I think that you look at all these quarterbacks, there are so many. I can't remember a time when there were so many quality quarterbacks. I mean, if we go through, we've got, we're close to 10 that we're just talking about tonight. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And those 10 could all possibly be a first round or second round talent. That's pretty incredible. But I think overall we're going to see the best season in college football based strictly on quarterbacks that we've ever seen this next year.
Well, and the thing that I really want to look up really quick, and I'm going to profootball.com to look at it, the most quarterbacks that we have had in the first round in recent history. 2016, we had 3 of them. 2015, we had 2 of them. 2014, we had 4 of them. So I think that was the last one, 2 in 2011. So I think in our recent history, 2011 had 4, and 2013-14 had 4. One of those 2. I think that's the most that we've ever seen in recent years in a draft has been 4 quarterbacks. I can't wait to see how many go in. Not just, we're getting ready for this draft. I can't wait for next draft just because of all these quarterbacks that we could see called in the entire draft. But before we kick off to Swanee's final thoughts, just you guys, I know you guys are going to give us names that we did not mention. Give us those down below in the comment section. But Swanee, let's end the podcast. What are Swanee's final thoughts?
Final thoughts. So it goes back to this is now we're going to actually go back to basketball for a second. Okay. So the Gonzaga Bulldogs, they get to their first ever national championship game. Mm-hmm. They do not win, but they play so competitively in the road that they took to get there, only losing 1 game all season long outside of the game last night in the championship. And they're from the what? The WCC. Most people would go, where? And you just say, oh, some worthless place on the West Coast. Some worthless conference on the West Coast.
You mean the ZAG? The ZAG conference? Because that's all that conference is to me.
Yeah. You got 2 teams that are competitive in there with Gonzaga and St. Mary's. But yet Gonzaga found a way to get a number 1 seed and make it all the way to the national championship game. I think that when so many times people say, those teams, they're never going to make it, they don't have a chance, all that kind of stuff, well, zip it, because Gonzaga put that all to rest. And they did it because Mark Few is an incredible coach and a really smart guy, because he knew that he would never, ever, ever make it anywhere if he didn't schedule tough non-conference opponents. Not only did he schedule tough non-conference opponents, his team beat all those non-conference opponents. They beat Arizona. They beat Florida. They beat Iowa State. They beat Tennessee. They beat teams that thought they'd go in and beat the Zags. Because Gonzaga's only good in the WCC. Wrong. They are a good team. They are going to continue to be a good team. Watch out for Gonzaga next season and beyond. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but I am saying that Mark Few is going to continue to have them to the tournament, and he's going to continue to have them making deep tournament runs, especially after this season. Congratulations to North Carolina, but congratulations to the Gonzaga Bulldogs and Mark Few. He has done something with that program, folks. If he hadn't all the seasons before, he did now.
And Brandon, like I told you after last night's game, you know who I expect to be back for them next season? Nigel Williams-Goss, baby. Just going to come back and have a vengeance on his mind, just like North Carolina had this season. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section about anything we talked about today on the podcast. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ricky Widmer. He is Brandon at Young_SWAT19. Most Valuable Podcast is at Most Valuable Pod. You want to help support the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, but also check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. Just an extra way to help out the channel rather than hitting the like and subscribe button. Want to thank you guys for either watching or listening today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, but as always, have a good day, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed a lot of emotion. If you want more, click this video right over my left shoulder. You will certainly not regret it.